So the lady that you guys see on my screen, let me back that picture up here because I want you guys to see this picture. This lady was allegedly a Georgia pageant winner. I don't know what pageant she won. I don't know if it was like a national hot dog contest or something like that. I don't know. But look, this lady had did something very, very bad to a child, okay? So let's get past that. Beautiful little baby. Let's talk about this story. Let's get into the details. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Y'all ain't nothing in the chat, man. What is wrong with y'all? Somebody said that she won a cupcake pageant. Whatever it was, I'm just saying she's just a bad person, okay? I'm getting this story from people.com because they did a really good job with this article. An indictment against a former Georgia pageant winner accused of murdering an 18-month-old baby, not a 18-month-old baby, her 18-month-old child, okay? Reveals disturbing allegations about what authorities believed happened. So Trinity Pogue, Poague, 18 years old, was arrested on several charges, including murder and battery in January in connection with the killing of that little baby that you just saw by the name. Let me see if I get the face back up there. That little baby on the right-hand side of the screen, Jackson Drew. The child whose legal name is Romeo, Angelus, was identified as Jackson Drew Williams by his father at the hospital, WLBT reported at the time. The child is referred to as Jackson Drew, DRU, or Jackson Drew, DREW, or Jackson Williams across different reports. Why so many different names is a little bit odd, but they also had a GoFundMe that was set up in his honor. So I'll show you guys that GoFundMe here in just a second. Let me give you some more details. The Georgia Southwestern State University Police Department requested the assistance of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, to investigate Jackson's death after the boy was rushed to a hospital in Americus, Georgia. The Bureau said in a statement at the time, Jackson later died at the hospital. Pogue, the woman on the right-hand side of the screen, had been a student at the school. In an indictment released last summer, Sumner County authorities allege that Pogue's alleged abuse caused serious disfigurement to his liver, rendered his brain useless, and left the boy with massive trauma to his head and torso. Pogue was indicted on 1 count of malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated battery, and 1 count of cruelty to children, according to documents published by WDHN and WALB. Now, according to witnesses, Pogue was in a romantic relationship with Jackson's father at the time of the killing. So maybe this actually isn't her child. Man. So this was dad's girl. Man, damn. So let me make a correction. This is dad's child. Dad's girlfriend murdered this kid. So I make that small correction. The same way that I get onto these thugs, these men, who these women date, and when you date thugs, you date death. And these women date men that only want to have relations with this woman and have sex with these women. And these women have children. And these men look at those children and they say, well, these children are a product of the man that she was with before. So they look into these children's eyes and all they can see is the man that this woman just got done sleeping with. And they end up presenting those kids. In the same situation, this girl, this grown woman at 18 years old, looked at this baby and probably saw the mother's face and resented this child and caused the death of this baby by beating this baby to death. Just can't be that damn stupid. So she was in a romantic relationship. So this is Dad's girlfriend. On the day of Jackson's death, students at Pogue College dorm heard a child crying for a long time until everyone said that suddenly it just stopped. Lily Waterman, a student at the school, told WRDW. And no one knew what happened. In a situation like that, if you hear that, it might have been a smart idea to get on the phone and call somebody and say something. Pogue was released on a $75,000 bond, and I'm just curious to know, it's her right to bail out. I'm just wondering who bailed her out. Her parents bailed her out for what? But that's her legal right, so I can't speak against her legal right. But nonetheless, she got out on a bond. She was stripped of her Miss Donaldsonville title, the Early County News reported in March. She was allowed to leave the Americas area after her release. She was ordered to wear an ankle monitor throughout her time outside jail, per the outlet. It wasn't immediately clear if she had entered a plea or retained an attorney to speak on her behalf. So if you suspect child abuse, call the National Child Abuse Hotline, man. If you see something, say something. Like, this young woman should have never been around this child. And to the dad, brother, I'm sorry that this happened to your baby. Don't matter how much you like this chick. Don't be bringing your kids. Like, I don't think that if you have small children, don't bring them around somebody you're dating. In general, that should just be an in general rule for everybody to follow. If you got small kids, don't bring your kids around your significant other, somebody you're dating, somebody you're seeing, somebody you're just having sex with. Don't do it. This GoFundMe, let me show you guys this GoFundMe that they have up right now. Because I know people feel pretty bad. But nonetheless, they asked for a $10,000 GoFundMe. They've raised $12,000. So they went beyond the goal of what was asked. Obviously, because everybody feels sad. And it is a sad story. But nonetheless, I don't think she should have been granted a bail at all. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. There's a lot of things you can grant somebody a low bail for, but allegedly beating and murdering a little baby, I don't think should be one of them. Let me give you guys... Give me just a second. Let me give you guys, if you guys would do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up and share this story so you guys can, I'm going to let you take a look at these news videos. So if y'all would share in the memory of this baby, okay? Here we go.
A Georgia beauty queen who seemed to be living her best life is now behind bars, accused of the murder of an 18-month-old child. On Friday, 18-year-old Trinity Pogue was arrested on multiple charges, including felony murder in connection to the death of that baby boy. Now, Pogue is currently being held without any bond, and multiple sources are reporting that Pogue was dating the child's father. In October, the 18-year-old was named Miss Donaldsonville and later competed in the National Peanut Festival pageant. She's a student at Georgia Southwestern State University. So will this beauty queen festival pageant, October, the 18-year-old was named Miss Donaldsonville and later competed in the National Peanut Festival pageant. October, the 18-year-old was named Miss Donaldsonville and later competed in the National Peanut Festival pageant.
The Peanut Pageant? Peanut Festival pageant. Talk about the peanut gallery. Like, you just can't make that type of stuff up. The peanut gallery, the peanut festival. What the freak, man?
She's a student at Georgia Southwestern State University. So will this beauty queen stay behind bars? Let's bring in our power panel and get their thoughts. I'm so pleased to have with me forensic death investigator, professor at Jacksonville State University, and the host of the...
Y'all said it for me. She's got peanuts for brains.
There is new information tonight in the death of a little boy and the pageant queen charged with his murder. Authorities say Miss Donaldsonville killed that toddler in a dorm room at the college she attends. News 4's Bayla Walker live in the newsroom to explain these developments in this case that is receiving worldwide attention. Bayla, what's the latest?
Yeah, Kinsley, a Georgia coroner says the 18-month-old toddler suffered blunt force trauma to his head. Pageant queen Trinity Pogue is charged with murder. She's a freshman at Georgia Southwestern University in Americus, Georgia. Now, the county coroner says that's where the boy suffered his injuries. Just 3 months after competing in Dothan's Miss National Peanut Festival pageant, Pogue is now in jail in Sumter County, Georgia. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation charged Pogue with aggravated assaults and cruelty to children. And Kinsley, as for the boy who died, there's some confusion about his name. Coroner Mathis Wright tells us his birth certificate lists him as Romeo Angles, but the boy's dad, whom investigators did not charge, named him Jackson Drew. Newsweek, major networks, and European publications posted this story after News 4 broke it first on Saturday. Kinsley?
A heartbreaking case. Bayla Walker, thank you for that update. Trinity Pogue, who is 18, has no bond and is still in jail.
Tonight, a Georgia pageant queen facing...
Hold on, because I literally just read that she had a $75,000 bond, unless that's wrong. So no bond is good. So unless I'm reading this wrong, I'm getting this from people.com. And it's saying as of June the 10th, which was 6 days ago, so maybe this is slightly outdated. But it's saying that she was released on a $75,000 bond in February. So if she has no bond now, then good. She don't need no bond.
Several charges in the death of an 18-month-old. Authorities arrested 18-year-old Trinity Pogue Friday after an investigation into the child's death. According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the child was admitted to an emergency room in Americus. That's about 2 hours south of Atlanta. The GBI says hospital staff tried to save the baby, but he later died. Pogue is being charged with felony murder, aggravated battery, and cruelty to children, and is currently being held at the Sumter County Jail with no bail. She was crowned as Miss Donaldsonville last year and later competed in the National Peanut Festival pageant.
Florida Governor.
A reigning pageant queen who competed in last year's Miss National Peanut Festival pageant is accused of killing an 18-month-old boy, remains behind bars. And if she is convicted of the crime, she could face life in prison. Just a few months ago, 18-year-old Trinity Pogue was the reigning Miss Donaldsonville pageant queen, competing against 35 young ladies from across the Wiregrass in the Miss National Peanut Festival pageant. Now, she is charged with murder. On Friday, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation arrested the Georgia Southwestern State student and charged her with the murder of an 18-month-old boy that is not believed to be her child. Officials say last week the child was rushed to Phoebe Sumter Hospital in Americus, Georgia, where the hospital staff tried to perform life-saving measures, but the boy later died. After multiple interviews and an examination of the evidence, GBI agents arrested Pogue 5 days after the alleged incident. She is charged with felony murder, aggravated battery, and cruelty to children in the first degree. Pogue is being held in the Sumter County Jail with no bond set in her case and could be facing life in prison if she is convicted on those charges. GBI investigators say once the investigation is complete in this case, the file will be given to the Southwestern Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office for prosecution. According to court records, it does not appear that a motion for a bond hearing in her case has been filed, but one will more than likely be filed in the near future, where a judge will decide whether or not Pogue can be released from jail while she waits on her court proceedings.
Clearly, there was something horrific happening here.
From small-town beauty queen to accused murderer, this Georgia teen is now out on bond after allegedly killing her boyfriend's toddler.
How awful certain human beings can be to other human beings, especially while very vulnerable young babies like this. It's hard to wrap your brain around.
Now we're learning more about the gruesome way the young boy died. We first told you about this story last month when 18-year-old Trinity Madison Pogue was arrested. She now faces multiple charges, including felony murder, aggravated battery, and first-degree cruelty to children. Before posing for this mugshot, she posed for a beauty pageant shot like this one when she was crowned Miss Donaldsonville 2023. She also competed in the Miss National Peanut Festival last year. But now, investigators say this small-town Georgia beauty queen knowingly killed her boyfriend's 18-month-old son. The boy's legal name is Romeo Angeles, but his family refers to him as Jackson Drew. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation began looking into the case on January 14th, when the toddler was pronounced dead after being rushed to the hospital. A medical examiner later determined the toddler's cause of death was blunt force trauma, and Pogue was subsequently charged with his murder. Georgia criminal defense attorney Meg Strickler has been following the case since it broke. Even weeks later, the details continue to shock her.
When you read the blunt force trauma, when you read those words, blunt force trauma, I can't elicit anything friendly in my brain. I think of horrible things happening to this little tiny baby. 18-month-old is still tiny in the sense of being able to defend themselves. So, and as you saw, she's charged with aggravated battery. So clearly there was something horrific happening here. And we may never ever know all of the details, but the medical records, when they do the autopsy.
I guess I'm not understanding. What I'm not understanding is, with this being dad's baby and there being a biological mother out there, from what I understand, why would you have left that baby alone with your girlfriend? There was no reason for that.
Will show some things and they can guess what occurred, and we don't know those things yet. But what you just see right now is those terms, blunt force trauma, and I all I do is think of really horrible things.
So that is the big term that we're hearing a lot, is the blunt force trauma, because we don't know, as you said, all of the details. But what could blunt force trauma be?
Well, I was thinking about, it could be, and again, I'm just telling you from prior cases I've done. I'm not saying this is okay, but there are times when you can shake this kid so much that you're so angry with an 18-month-old that it shakes their innards. So it can cause some damage, internal damage from doing that. And there's a lot of science involved with that. There's also where the baby could have been pushed down the stairs, something like this. I keep saying baby, I should say toddler, but whatever. Could have been pushed somewhere, could have been pushed and fallen down, could have been pulled and then pulled and shook over this way. I mean, there's so many.
The students at the dorm said they heard this child screaming and screaming and screaming, and then all of a sudden, then they heard absolutely nothing. The way that they described it is like it was an abrupt stopping of the child crying. That's a red flag. Get on the phone and call somebody like that. I don't know. I just don't know how you missed that.
Scenarios that occur where you might be fighting with the 18-month-old to get something out of his hand, and then you're being an abusive.
The students at the dorm said they heard it.
Person, and then you yank the entire child across the room. I mean, you would be surprised. It makes me upset to even think about it, how awful certain human beings can be to other human beings, especially very vulnerable young babies like this.
And I 100% agree. And that's why I think that when you're young, you shouldn't have children. You shouldn't be just have this responsibility just laid in your lap. I don't understand that at all. Like how the boyfriend will explain that. Like, how do you explain that to your child's mom? Brother, I'm sorry, but it's just, I can't justify this. And I'm speaking from a father's perspective, and I'm speaking from a perspective of when I had my daughter at 24 years of age, I didn't just leave my daughter around no woman. Like, I dated, I saw women, but I did that when I didn't have my daughter. When I had my daughter, it was me and my daughter, and that was it. So it's not like I haven't being in this situation to understand what you should and shouldn't do. And I don't think that when you have small children, your focus should not be on dating. Your focus should be on raising that child, because these children are going to need your undivided attention. They're going to need all your resources, let alone you trying to split your time and split your attention to be dating some peanut festival champion. Whatever the hell she is, pageant winner, whatever you want to call her, peanut head, peanut brain. This woman shouldn't have been around children at all. Period. So I hope that they throw the book at her, because I want y'all to look at that little baby. As much as you might think that this woman has a future, I don't think that she should ever be allowed to get out of prison. When you look at this baby who was small and innocent and could not speak for himself and could not defend itself against the tyranny of dad's girlfriend, and that to me cannot be forgiven. This person needs a permanent life sentence and never needs to be around children ever again. That's not something you get a do-over. You can't do that over. You can't make that up. You can't make up for doing that. You can't rehabilitate being this damn dumb. Okay? R.I.P. to that beautiful little baby who had all the promise in the world. And I hope that we get true justice in this story, okay? And I hope that you guys push for justice in that area, in Donaldsonville, in Georgia, at the Peanut Gallery, at the Peanut Festival. And I hope y'all throw peanuts at her, okay? Not physically. Nonetheless, thank you guys so much for listening to Baby Jackson's story. Thank you.